I'm going to show you how to make this vegan pulled pork burger. But first, roll the intro. Hello and welcome back to Simon's Bacon Isolation Inspiration. If you're new to the channel, welcome. We're a bacon show where we don't take ourselves too seriously and we're flipping good fun while we bake. Now today I'm giving bacon a rest. One, it is absolutely roasting outside and who wants to bake in this weather? So instead I'm going to do a little bit of cooking for you party peeps at home. Now me personally, I don't eat meat, I'm a vegetarian. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys at home how to make a vegetarian pulled pork sandwich with the best chips you're likely to see. Now I know exactly what you're thinking at home. Simon, how are you going to make a pulled pork sandwich with nothing but vegetables? Well, I'm about to show you how. With these bad boys. These are king oyster mushrooms. They're a bit tricky to find, so you have to go to your big local supermarkets to find this. And these shred and it looks just like pulled pork. But first, we need to make a barbecue sauce and I'm going to show you how to do it. Now to make barbecue sauce, it's actually quite easy, but you do need quite a few ingredients. So what you want to do is make sure when you're at the shops, you stock up on all your spices. And here it all is. We've got some mustard powder, some smoked paprika, some garlic granules, some onion granules, some chipotle chili flakes, some black treacle, or in America they call this molasses. Got some ketchup, some soy sauce, some dark brown sugar, some apple cider vinegar, and finally some pineapple juice. I know, right? Now let's start making this stuff. Whop the top of your ketchup and tip the whole lot into your saucy pan. Now here's a little top tip. Don't throw this away. If you just wanted to make barbecue sauce, it's a really handy container to store it in. So just give it a wash out and then there you go. Now your ketchup's in, it's time to go in with 3 tablespoons of the sugar. Next it's time to go in with 2 tablespoons of the pineapple juice. Also go in with 1 tablespoon of the soy sauce. Now it's time to go in with 2 teaspoons of the apple cider vinegar. And the last of the wet ingredients is the black treacle or molasses. But here's a little top tip for you party peeps. Get your tablespoon and just cover it in a little bit of oil and then it will stop this stuff sticking to it. Just like that. And now it's time to pimp this barbecue sauce up with all our spices. So here we go. So to start with, we're going to go in with 2 teaspoons of the smoked paprika. That's handy. Now it's time to pimp this barbecue sauce to the max. So to start with, go in with 2 teaspoons of your smoked paprika. Now that paprika's in, it's time to go in with half a teaspoon of your onion granules and half a teaspoon of your garlic granules. And you guessed it, half a teaspoon of your chipotle flakes. And lastly, a quarter of a teaspoon of your mustard powder. I'll just give that a generous seasoning with some salt and a couple of twists of pepper. Now you want to get this onto a low heat and using a hand whisk it together and let it just about boil. And there you go, you've made yourself some barbecue sauce. Easy peasy. There you go. It's been bubbling away for about 2 minutes and all the ingredients are merged together. Now have a look at this. That is proper barbecue sauce. It's a very different taste to what you get in the supermarket. This is a bit more sweet. And you know what? Homemade is always better. You know exactly what's gone into this rather than the stuff you buy in the shops. So, how do you get nice pulled bits like this from a mushroom like this? Well, it's pretty simple. Get a fork and what you want to do is dig it in and just gently go right the way around with your fork a couple of times And then what you do is you get the top, twist it off, and don't worry, we will be using this. Just break it up and put it in your bowl. And now what you do is you just literally go along and take the strands off, just like that. Now, you want to continue doing this until all your mushrooms are in the bowl, really. And there we go, party peeps. That is our 6 king oyster mushrooms in a bowl. Now, I know I forgot to mention it, but don't panic. In the description down below, I will list all the ingredients you'll need to make this thing. Now, have a look at that. Doesn't that look just like pulled chicken, pulled pork? If I never told you this was mushrooms, you'd honestly think that was chicken, wouldn't you? But we're not done with these yet. It's time to pimp them right up. So go over the top with a little bit of oil. This will help the spice mixture stick to it. Next, we want to go in with a teaspoon of our onion granules. So at the top, a teaspoon of our garlic, a teaspoon of our smoked paprika, about half a teaspoon of some sage, and next you want to go in with a nice bit of salt and crack over loads of black pepper. Now you all know the bit I like doing. I like to get my hands in and get all mucky. So let's just do it. Get it in and just literally coat all them mushroom pieces with all that spice blend. And it smells amazing. Oh my gosh, get this stuff off me quicker. I hate getting dirty. Have a look at that, party peeps. That is all our mushrooms, all nicely coated in all that barbecue spice rub, and it smells amazing, real barbecuey. But we've got to set that aside for a minute, and now it's time to prep the chips. And you're going to like this part. I'm going to let you in on a little secret on how to make absolutely banging chips. But first of all, you need to get yourself some decent potatoes. These are King Edward potatoes, and anybody from Britain will know these make the best roast potatoes. So these chips will sort of be like roast potato-y sort of chips, really. Now, how do you get banging chips? Well, you need to get yourself one of these. This is an apple corer. I know you're thinking, Simon, what's going on here? Let me show you. So get your potato on the flat side, get your apple corer, and literally bosh it straight through, twist it, and bring it out. And what you'll end up with is these like little cylinder chips. And trust me, when we put these in the oil, all this edge gets really nice and crispy, and it's really fluffy inside. And there we go, party peeps. That is my chips all pressed out, and have a look at that. Don't they look good? All equal and uniform. Now I've left the skin on because there's a lot of nutrients in the skin, and I like the skin. But if you don't want the skin on your chips, just whop them off. Now another thing I know what you're thinking, Simon, that is like an awful lot of waste of potato. The answer is yes, you're correct. It is a waste, but you know what? It doesn't really matter. What I'm going to do with these is I'm going to put them in the fridge, and then tomorrow I might make a nice leeking potato soup, or I might cut them up and make a nice, I don't know, Bombay potato out of them. There's loads of usage you can do for potato, so don't just waste them because you've punched a few holes in them. Now, what you've got to do is run these under the tap and get the starch off of them, and you'll see as soon as you put water in it, it will go really cloudy. You're going to rinse these all out until the water is nice and clear. I've rinsed all these potatoes off, and you can feel that they're a little bit different. They ain't got that like starchy greasiness on them. Now that stuff will stop your potatoes getting nice and crispy, so that's why you rinse them. Now what I've done is I've got a saucepan with some fresh clean water in. I'm going to bring it up to the boil, and then I'm going to pre-boil these for about 5 minutes, and then what I'm going to do is take them off of the boil, drain them, and then just leave them till all the steam stops going out of them. That is what makes proper crispy chips. Chips are absolutely stone cold now, and all I've gone and done is I've chucked a tray in the oven, gas mark 9, highest temperature your oven will go, and all I've done is I've put a little bit of oil in, and I'm just heating it up. That's the key, getting your oil nice and hot. A bit like when you're doing roast potatoes, really. So about 10 minutes and that oil is absolutely steaming now. Now it's time to go in with the chips, but be careful because it will spit. Just get your tray, And because you've made them cylindrical, you can just roll them around and then chuck them in the oven. Now in about 10 minutes you want to take them out and give them another roll. A lot of time people fail at chips because they just put them in and leave. Now while them chips are cooking away quite happily, it's time to cook these barbecue mushrooms. So I've got a cast iron pan. If you don't have cast iron, don't panic, just use a normal pan. Cast iron is a lot better for cooking on. What I'm going to do is pop a bit of oil in, and I'm going to heat it up until it's proper hot. And now my cast iron pan is nice and hot, it's time to dump in all of these mushrooms, and it will sizzle away. Have a listen to that sizzle. That is exactly what you want. Now you don't want to do anything to these mushrooms. There's a lot of water in them that has to come out first. So just leave them, they'll do their thing. Come back to them in like 5 minutes and just check. And what you're looking for is a nice colour on the bottom. There we go, party peeps. It's been about 10 minutes and look at these mushrooms. They've wilted right down. You've got some nice crunchy bits. Oh, it smells proper good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to separate it into 2 bowls. My wife, she doesn't like barbecue sauce, so I'm going to make her a different one. Now I'm about to start making this seriously barbecuey, but make sure at this point you check your chips every 10 minutes just to make sure they're not burning. I would show you on camera, but I'm going to save it till the end. Now, with your bowl of mushrooms, tip in some barbecue sauce. Now with your tongs, give that a jolly good old mix together. Now I've tipped some of the barbecue sauce into the bowl, and what I'm going to do is get my tongs. I'm just going to pick out this barbecue sauce and I'm going to put it onto a baking tray because I'm going to finish this off in the oven. The timer's gone off for the chips and I'm going to finish them off in the frying pan. But in the meantime, what I'm going to do is get this in the oven. Now what I've done is I've got a small tray and just lined it with a bit of parchment. That's essential. And what I'm going to do is pop this in the oven, gas mark 7 or about 200 degrees for about 10 to 12 minutes. And then that should be perfectly cooked. Let's get it in. And there we go, party peeps. Here it all is. I've quickly toasted my bun. These look absolutely amazing. And these are my cylindrical chips. Have a look at them. I've finished them off in the cast iron pan and all the black little caramelised bits seem to pick up on the chips. Full of flavour. But to finish it off, I'm just going to go on with a pinch of salt. Now it's time to plate this bad boy up. So go on first with this pulled pork. And lastly we'll go on with a handful of these amazing chips. It certainly looks the part, but does it taste the part? Let's find out. We'll start off with these chips. They are banging. They're just like little roast potatoes. They're nice and crunchy on the outside, nice and fluffy on the inside. And the charred bits you picked up from the cast iron, it's a winner winner. And now let's have a taste test of the burger. That is seriously good. The barbecue sauce is sweet and tangy, and the mushrooms just are nice little crunchy and soft as well. It is absolutely amazing. If you gave this to someone who wasn't vegan or vegetarian, they honestly wouldn't be able to tell the difference. Thank you so much for taking the time out to watch this cooking video. If you've enjoyed it, don't forget to leave a thumbs up. And until next time, peace out!